Are you aware that sitting for hours on end behind a computer, in front of a TV, reading a good book, or driving in traffic is really, really bad for you? Mounting research suggests that sitting in and of itself is a risk factor for poor health and, yes, premature death. Your body declines rapidly when sitting for long, uninterrupted periods, even if you're very fit. Exercising as much as 5 times a week for up to an hour each time still falls far short of optimum fitness if you sit most of the rest of the day. Who would have thought? Dr. Joan Vernikos, former director of NASA's Life Sciences Division and author of Sitting Kills, Moving Heals, was one of the primary doctors responsible for ensuring the health of astronauts. What an interesting job. Her research on the health ramifications of space travel proved that you get close to a 10-fold acceleration of the aging process when you live in a gravity-free environment. Chronic, uninterrupted sitting mimics a low gravity situation, which is close to a gravity-free situation, which means you're not exerting your body against the forces of gravity, and that's what's causing an acceleration in the aging process. She discovered that the act of standing up is actually more effective than walking for counteracting the ill effects of sitting. The change in posture is what has the most beneficial impact on your health, not the act of standing in and of itself. The key is to repeatedly interrupt your sitting. Standing up 35 times at once will provide only a small percentage of the benefit of standing up once every 20 minutes. So get this. It's not how many hours of sitting that is bad for you. It's how often you interrupt that sitting that is good for you. Moving against gravity stimulates our physiological functions. Lipoprotein lipase is an important enzyme that attaches to fat in your bloodstream, transports it to your muscles to be used as fuel. Lipoprotein lipase is dramatically reduced during inactivity, but increases with activity. Therefore, an effective activity is to stand up from a seated position. Simply by standing up, you're actively helping your body to burn fat for fuel. How about that? Research has proven that standing up once every hour is more effective for achieving cardiovascular and metabolic changes than walking on a treadmill for 15 minutes. Go figure. Now, let me give you some fit tips for countering the ill effects of prolonged sitting. 1. Stand up around 35 times over the period of a day to counteract the cardiovascular health risks associated with sitting. 2. Move, bend, reach, twist, and shift position often. 3. Program an online timer, your watch, cell phone, or whatever to go off every 20 minutes. When it goes off, stand up. 4. Alternately stand up and sit down really slowly 5 times. 5. You can do 4 jump squats or 4 lunges to augment the exposure to gravity. Jumping up and down gets you up to 6 times the force of gravity. 6. If you squat and stand, you get the maximum benefit of working against the force of gravity. By adding jumping to it, going from a squat to a jump, landing into a squat again, you end up with 6.5 Gs. Who cares what you look like at the office? The human body is astonishing. It's never too late to reverse damage and delay aging. So get up, stand up for your right to be healthy. You can do this. It's easy.
Get up, stand up for your rights.
Month 5, week 3. This week we'll be looking into the question of proteins and making some new recipes. So Frances, where do proteins come in?
All right, well, you know, we're hearing more and more research talking about plant-based protein. And the reason for that is because we are faced with a big dilemma today. Since the agricultural revolution, actually, we've been shying away. I would love to say shying away, but there's a lot of controversy both with protein coming from dairy and red meat. And the reason for that is our environment. Pollution, acid rain, poor soil, overly fed, poorly fed, injected cows and other animals have resulted in just poor production, overproduction, but meats that are filled with antibiotics and hormone injections and all these things. So people are A, not doing well digesting this stuff, and B, we're realizing more and more and more that we don't need that much protein. Protein is as only good as how you're going to digest that protein. So people can keep eating meat and so on, but at the end of the day, when it's not digesting well, what are they benefiting? They're not benefiting, they're actually harming themselves.
Meat also takes a long time to digest, doesn't it?
It's a long time to digest. It's a big thing. It's a big, huge animal. It's a big, huge structure. You bet. And talking about, I know you wanted to mention intestinal gas and indigestion and so on. So what happens when protein isn't broken down properly? It sits, it's very hot inside our intestine. You know, we have 6 feet of bowel. It's very hot and humid down there, and this protein will ferment. Ferment, creating toxins, creating all kinds of problems. So I also like to talk about transit time. You know, we should be eliminating 3 to 4 times a day. So we eat a meal, within an hour we should feel the urge to go. So when you think of all the time that people have problems with that and don't go enough, that what happens to what's sitting inside our body? So
That's what it's doing, is it's sitting inside.
sitting and rotting and fermenting, creating toxins. Terrible. Plants digest easier, break down easier, especially the fiber that you get when you eat salad. The fiber that you get from the fruit helps so much with that elimination process.
Also, for those who have a little more challenge and or whose system is getting used to digesting these type of plants, there's the whole chopping thing, cutting them up into small, just like the blender chops it up and makes it easier to digest. The same thing is if you're going to make a salad, you cut the different vegetables into smaller pieces. It's just easier for the body to digest.
Yeah, you know, and when I give a recipe out to people, I make it a big recipe. I say, make the salad, let it last for a few days. Stick it in the fridge and then you have it. Don't make a salad just for one meal. Yeah, for sure. That helps.
That's good. So what about I exercise?
Well, exercise is key. I mean, it's not only what you eat, it's how you move. And the more you age, not that the more you have to exercise, but I like to say the more intensely you have to exercise. You have to work your muscle. That's what you have to do. You have to try and add a little bit of intensity to your workouts, for sure.
For sure. And the other thing is there's this whole idea that proteins build muscle. So what about the need for protein and exercise? Is that true?
Yes and no. You need protein for the growth and repair of tissue at the cellular level, for sure. And that's why I emphasize all these vegetables.
Yeah.
That's where to get your protein. There's nothing wrong with eating a bit of fish. There's nothing wrong with anything as long as you know how you're doing. How are you digesting?
Not only that, as we age, we don't really need to eat more protein. We need to do more exercise.
Yes.
But if you're actually going to exercise, then a great time to have your protein is right after your exercise or within, an hour and a half of your workout.
Yeah, you have a window of up to 90 minutes to have a combination of protein and carbs for sure. And that's when you can get away with perhaps eating a little bit more, but that's when you need to give back. You need to give back. You
mean give back? You've made an effort. You've used up some of your energy. And this is a way to give it back.
Give back, exactly.
So here today, we're going to make a smoothie with a plant-based protein.
Yes, we didn't talk about that. We were emphasizing the salad, but another way to get more protein, if that's what you would like and feel that you need, is by adding some protein, plant-based protein to a smoothie, for sure.
So let's say you have a workout, and then after your workout, you can make it before, you can bring it with you, you can drink your smoothie after your workout. So you prefer these plant-based proteins. This one's made from brown rice, amaranth, quinoa, millet, and pumpkin seed. And it's sprouted. What does that mean?
I prefer that one because it is sprouted. It means you still have the life.
The enzymes are still active.
Nothing's isolated. Everything is, again, synergist. There's a synergist there. It's together.
Yeah.
So we're getting all these nutrients in at once. I feel the best time to have something like this is after your workout. It is heavy, and it'll be too much to eat before you work out. So definitely after is the best time for sure.
So let's make one.
All right, good.
Okay, let's make a smoothie with plant-based protein powder.
So I'm going to add a pear, well, half a pear actually.
We're putting in a half a pear.
I like pears because it gives that little bit of, I don't know, almost like a creamy-like texture. We'll put a piece of kale in this one.
Pears are quite alkaline, aren't they?
All fruits and vegetables are alkaline. There is a bit of confusion when it comes to that because, for example, let's talk about a lemon. A lot of people, or acid-type fruits like oranges and grapefruits, they are acid in taste and they're an acidic fruit, but the minute they enter our bodies, they become alkaline.
Great.
Yeah.
So like you were saying before, we were created alkaline. So that's why fruit and vegetables are just so good for us because they provide us with that type of food. Do you want one scoop?
One scoop's good.
One scoop's good. There we go.
All right.
Zit, zit, zit. That's what we're going to do. While Francis is, let's see how noisy that is, because maybe it's too noisy. It's down here.
It was noisy.
It was noisy. So Francis has also today come up with a vitality salad, which is, do you want to taste that? I'm not really...
we can wait.
We can wait.
give it a
Yeah,
wait.
that's a good idea. So our vitality salad recipe today consists of, we're not going to make it for you, but we're going to tell you what goes into it. So finely chopped arugula, which is here, black kale here, and spinach, red cabbage, yellow and red peppers, grated beet. Whoops, there's a beet over here. A grated beet. Now, Francis also puts in a grated turnip. We don't have one here today. Here there's some tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, hemp seeds, chia seeds, dulse, seaweed, which is seaweed, nutritional yeast. So we mix all of these things, make a very large salad. So what's the purpose of the dulse?
Well, the dulse is an excellent food for the thyroid. You know, the thyroid really requires iodine, or as in sea vegetables, and it's impossible to really get that. So dulse is ideal. I love that dulse. It actually comes from the Gaspé, and
it's a seaweed. Dulse is a seaweed.
Yeah. So how you would use that is it comes in large strips.
Shall we look at
Let's
one?
look at. Let me show you.
Okay, there you go.
All right. So you would cut this into smaller little strips and mix it in the salad. Another nice way to use dulse is if, for example, you know, when the green and yellow beans come out in the summer, they're so delicious.
Yeah.
If you lightly steam them, well, you can add strips of dulse in the steamer, and it gives a nice aroma and a little bit of dulse just tastes salty.
Yeah.
Gives you that
From the
extra little
seed.
salt. It's fantastic.
Must be full of minerals.
Dulse is full of iodine. Yeah.
And the nutritional yeast is vitamin B's, I think.
It is, and B12 to be exact, and it has a cheesy flavor.
Yeah, I love it.
Really, really nice.
Yeah.
Your urine will get a bit of yellow, but don't be concerned.
It's good.
And you know the hemp is extra protein.
Yeah. And omega-3s. And the beets will make your pee red. So don't worry.
That's true. So you have a combination there, a little bit of everything.
Good. So go ahead and try these healthy, delicious recipes and food. Thank you, Francis.
My
Once
pleasure.
again, you're really giving us all kinds of interesting information.
That's wonderful.
Things that we don't know that much about. So
Excellent. Great.
thank you.
Okay.
All right. Are you starting to like your vegetables yet?